Hi everybody, and welcome back to this channel where we talk all about healthy relationships, intimacy, and safety for adults with intellectual or developmental disabilities. My name is Aubrey Brinkley, and I'm working on my doctorate in occupational therapy. This is my capstone project. I'm so excited to keep talking through healthy relationships for adults with intellectual or developmental disabilities today. This is our 6th episode in a 7-episode series. We've learned so much together. So if you haven't had time, go back and learn all about the different things that we've talked through, which is the history behind this topic, the safety around this topic. We've talked about sexual health education. We've talked about tailoring education tactics specifically for individuals with intellectual disabilities to thrive. We've talked through so much, and the conversation is going to continue today with the conversation of consent. A huge need, huge important conversation, so I'm really excited to dive in with y'all. As we go through this conversation, we'll be using the acronym IDD. IDD means intellectual or developmental disabilities, and it just helps us flow our conversation together as we talk about consent. So let's talk about the 3 topics we'll be covering today. We will be talking about defining consent, forms of consent, consistency of consent. This entire episode is focused on this topic because it's so important. I want to remind you guys of the sexual abuse statistics, which is really such a big driving force behind my project in general. If you have an IDD, you are 7 times more likely to experience sexual abuse or assault. And if you're a woman with an IDD, you're 12 times more likely. So let's not shy away from these conversations. Let's bring these conversations to light, give confidence and power to our loved ones with an IDD so they know how to protect themselves and make sure they are forming connections worthwhile and forming connections full of respect and love. Let's get started. So, what is consent? Consent is a freely given, enthusiastic response to a behavior. Hey, would you like a hug today? Yeah, I would love a hug. Thanks for asking. That sounds like enthusiastic consent. That's a yes, I would love a hug. What about this scenario? Hey, would you like a hug? No, I'm not really feeling up for a hug today. That's not enthusiastic, and that's saying, no, this is something I don't need or want right now. And that is great as well. Teaching those options at an early age and throughout our development are so important to maintain safety and confidence and support in our lives. Another way to think about consent is to think of fries. Yeah, like French fries. Okay, we're not eating French fries, unfortunately. But Planned Parenthood created an acronym with FRIES, F-R-I-E-S. Let's start. F is for freely given. This means that no one's forcing you to say anything. You say what you want to say when you want to say it. R is for reversible. This means, say you're really open to holding hands with someone, then maybe you don't feel as comfortable doing that. You can say, hey, I don't really feel like holding hands anymore. And that's okay. That's great. Continue with that honesty and move forward to maintain respect and safety in your life. I means informed. Informed means you know exactly what you're getting into. So say that someone asks you if you want to go on a date with them. You don't know a lot about that. Where does that date? Are you going to be alone? Are you going to be in public? You need to get some more information before you consent to that. The best way to have safety is to know all the details about what's going on. So, to make sure you're safe, ask more questions. I'd love to learn more about this date. Tell me, where are we going? Who's going to be there? What should we do? After you get some more information, you feel really confident about the full picture, you can make the decision to say, no thanks, I'll try again next time, or yeah, I'd love to go. E is for enthusiastic. This means that enthusiasm is important. You should be able to be excited and feel like your partner or your friend or whoever you're creating connection with is genuinely meaning what they're saying. If you get the vibe that maybe they're not 100% comfortable, they feel like they're pressuring themselves into something, definitely take a moment, check in with them, and make sure that respect and consent is flowing free. And S is specific. This means that we should know specifically what we're doing and how. So if you have any questions about what situation is going on, definitely make sure to understand that. And throughout the entire process, remember, freely given, reversible, informed, enthusiastic, and specific. Let's use our practice of a storyboard to build out some forms of consent. A storyboard is talked about in episode 3, where we go over education tactics that are tailored specifically for all people to thrive. So a storyboard in a quick fashion is a way for us to tangibly see different options that come up in our life. So let's go through these different phrases and decide, is this consent or is this not consent? If it is consent, we're gonna put it up on our storyboard. Yes, I would love a hug. This is enthusiastic and specific and encouraging. This is saying, yes, I would love a hug. I would say this is consent. No worries, I'm just in my head. This isn't super confident. It shows that someone may be feeling a little uncomfortable. This is not consent. I would love to keep holding hands. This is a specific example that is saying, yes, I'm loving this, let's keep holding hands. This is consent. I feel a little weird, but it's okay. Even though they're saying it's okay, it's not enthusiastic, and they're saying they're feeling weird. This isn't consent. I would pause and check in on your loved one. I'm nervous. This isn't consent. Let's make sure everybody's feeling comfortable and respected. I'm enjoying this together. Totally consent. I'm enjoying this together. It could be a little more specific. What are you enjoying? But overall, it sounds enthusiastic and it sounds consensual. You can keep building out this resource and filling up this consent poster so you can really grasp all the different nuances of consent. It's a great way to give tangible understanding to something that can be a little overwhelming or tricky to understand, the different forms of verbal communication or nonverbal communication, and how to ensure we are receiving and giving consent throughout our relationships. Providing and receiving consistent, affirmative, and confident consent is necessary. If there's ever a hesitation or ever a feeling that something's a little off, you should always stop, ask, and if it's not a confident answer, discontinue what you're doing to make sure everybody feels safe and loved. Consent should always be given throughout an activity, and you should always be of sound mind and body. That means you know what you're saying, you understand where you're going with it, and you feel comfortable to express exactly what you think. As caregivers, healthcare providers, coaches, teachers, and individuals with IDD yourself, you can build out a consensual life together. You can start teaching these forms of consent throughout your day-to-day activities. Hey, it's good to see you. Could I give you a hug? No, I'm not really feeling up to a hug today. No worries. I'm so glad that you're here. Great way to give some consent. What about going in for a high five or a fist bump? Some people may feel like giving a high five or a fist bump one day and not the next. Make sure to ask before you act. Another way to build out good consensual practices is reflecting with each other. After you go through something new or you're experiencing something new in the moment, check in. How are you feeling? Do you feel safe? Do you feel like this is a good experience, or do you think we should change? These role-playing conversations can be a great way to build trust, intimacy, respect, and safety between two people. And these conversations and these characteristics will transfer into a more intimate relationship where more intimate acts take place and more consent will be needed. Let's talk a little bit about these different safety needs that we want to build into our relationships. Let's talk through two different things: physical safety and emotional safety. Physical safety is when we physically are able to be protected, our body is protected, and we feel safe when we are in an environment. Physically, we protect each other and we make sure that anytime we go through a physical boundary, we are always talking about it and making sure that everybody's feeling comfortable. That looks like, can we hold hands today? Making sure that that's consistently okay and speaking up when you may want to change your behavior. Emotional safety is when shared vulnerabilities and feelings are respected and protected. When you share something serious and intimate with someone, that should be a safe place for you to feel comfortable, to feel taken care of, and to feel respected. That looks like knowing that your loved one is going to keep those shared intimate moments between the two of you. These are two levels of safety that I want us to teach so then we understand how to maintain that safety. If we don't know what to expect, we may never know what a healthy relationship looks like. Giving these consistent cornerstones of physical safety, emotional safety is a great way to build understanding, confidence, and support for our adults with IDD. Let's talk through the consistency of consent. It's important to keep consistent conversations, consistent wording throughout our education, especially for our neurodivergent thinkers or our friends with IDD. Ways to build consistency when talking about consent is following through that cornerstone that we talked about earlier. We created a consistent cornerstone of physical safety and emotional safety. This is a consistent cornerstone that we can spot out throughout our lives. We're watching a show and we see someone sharing a secret and someone tells someone else about that. Is that emotionally safe? No. We deserve more respect from our friends and our partners. So we can point that out. That's breaking a consistent cornerstone. We see that in our life. What about holding hands? Someone asking for a hug, someone asking if they could put their hand on your leg. Those are great ways to point out, hey, I see some physical safety. I see someone asking for consent and understanding their partner or their loved one's desires before acting upon what they think. We talked about this in episode 2, and it reigns true to this day. Using anatomically correct verbiage is so important for all learners. Research states that if you are using words like penis, vagina, you're understanding your body and you can speak in a way that's respected and understood. This is an important consistency that we can give to our loved ones to ensure that they have the tools to be independent as possible and to have as much safety built into their life as they can. Overall, use the techniques that we talked about in episode 3. Use storyboards, use consistent cornerstones, use role playing to get into the mindset of consent and understanding it's okay to say no, and that's totally respectable. If someone doesn't respect your decision of saying no, that is not a safe relationship. Check in with yourself and find people you trust to talk to. Thanks so much for joining along today. It was so awesome getting to have space to talk about these important topics. Learning how to really understand consent and practice what it looks like to give enthusiastic, confident consent in our lives. The more we talk about these things, the more safety gets built out for people of all abilities, and we get to see a greater world of love and connection. I'm so excited to continue this conversation with y'all on episode 7, where we will finish out this series of healthy relationships. Episode 7, we'll be talking through our emotional regulation tactics, safety, and looking forward to the future. I can't wait to keep building out these things with you guys and creating a greater world for all of us to thrive. please email me if you have any thoughts, questions, concerns. I'd love to hear from you guys. Y'all are the reason that I'm creating this video. So let me know what you need and what you want, and send me your personal experiences with these situations. I'm here in your corner, always supporting y'all, and can't wait to build out these resources more next time. Talk soon.